Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Mr. Money TV live on Thursday night.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Nice to see you guys again. This is Frankie here from the FAQ show.
And this is Mr. Money from Mr. Money TV, which you guys are
Mhm.
tuning in from. So, Frankie,
Hey.
so how was your week?
Oh, actually, I almost forgotten that today is Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I already lost count. What day is it already? Right?
Ah,
Yeah, so it is that busy, lah. Right?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, we're quite flooded with
Mm.
a lot of things, right? So, for those of you guys, if you are looking for a job, right? We
Mm.
are actually hiring recently. Uh,
Yes.
Number one, we are looking for the media sales position.
Mm.
Number two, we are looking for social media executive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the two roles that we are looking for in this company at this point.
Mm.
Then we are also looking for various types of intern.
Correct.
Yeah, so if you are interested to join us as an intern,
Mm.
please reach out to us.
I think you can write to us at mrmoney@mrmoneytv.com.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. So, Frankie,
Mm.
what is one highlight of your whole week?
Oh, my highlight for the whole week happened 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
But this is not my personal highlight. Is that there's a very interesting debate happened in the U.S. between Donald
Ah,
Trump
I
and
see, I see, I see.
yeah, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, we will be talking about that
Yeah, sometime later lah.
sometime later.
Okay.
Yeah, today we're going to dedicate a little
Mm.
bit more towards practical stuff. But
Yes. Mm.
nonetheless, right? Yeah. Um, Aside from that, as a
Mm.
highlight,
Mm.
what is it for you? Is there anything else?
You are talking about work or you are talking
Life,
about
life,
my
life.
life?
Yeah, life. Your
My
life
life.
only got work now.
Almost okay, to the point to the okay, so in the past, right, uh I used to dedicate 3 days a week to go to the gym. I tell myself no matter how busy I am, I need to find time to go to the gym. But recently has been so busy, right? Until the point that I told my family, can I just take some time off? So this is at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Can I take some time off? I want to go to the gym.
Right.
Then my was like, okay lah, can lah, you just go lah, cause you also haven't been home for a while, right? So I had a very good close to 2 hours of my alone time, me time at the gym, from 9 to about close to 11 p.m. So yeah, that was a good rest in that sense lah for myself.
Okay.
Mm.
That's great. Now,
You yourself?
for me,
Yeah.
my highlight for this week would have been one which is our conversation we had with Chen Chao, right? And
Yeah.
also basically this week I did quite many interviews, right?
Right.
With Darren, with
Mm.
Tony Lim from Banana Bros,
Yeah.
and then with Chen Chao. And I think meeting two of them and having a deeper conversation about business and operation
Mm.
was quite a refreshing thing for me to see.
Mm.
The reason being is because you see a very different side of people suddenly, and
Mm.
in a good end, right? Because if you talk to someone like say Chen Chao,
Yeah.
you
By the way, Chen Chao is the co-founder of Faith.
yeah, the
Yeah.
co-founder of Faith and the CEO of Faith,
Mm-mm.
and recently he's no more there. Usually he is definitely not categorized as a very charismatic person.
Mm.
Same thing as Tony is
Mm.
not really categorized as a very charismatic individual, right?
Mm.
So when you don't see them as that guy who shines very bright on the stage, but when they talk about their business and ways to operate the
Yeah.
company,
They changed their mode.
they change their mode and suddenly they become
They
I,
become a different
they
person.
become a different person, right? Right? Yeah, yeah. You kind of like you
Mm.
kind of like wow,
Like wow, suddenly you look
like
so
so different,
sexy.
right? No, no, I wouldn't say so sexy, but like it's very different.
Yeah.
Like suddenly they have a very strong soul, right? And
Mm.
what they say is has so much of attraction that you just listen to it.
Mm.
So it reminds me of everyone has their strength. Yeah, some people belong to. We always say that there are people who cannot talk and there are
Mm.
people who are introverted. Then there are those who are extroverted and they
Mm.
shine. And I
Mm.
just think to myself, actually not true. Like
Mm.
it's just about whether are you going to be talking about the things
Mm.
that matter and interest you,
Correct.
and are you good at it,
Mm.
right? So people like Chen Chao, he can communicate about operations in such
Mm.
length and such interesting
He
way.
is very structured. Yeah.
That's right.
Whatever
And
he say is always ABC, one, two,
that's right.
three. Yeah.
Yeah, and for yourself, although when I talk about life with you, sometimes you're just like, nothing to talk about, right? But when I talk about investment with you, you got 1 million and one things, right? So, and I just generally talk lah, right?
Mm.
So everyone got their strength. So I want to remind you out there,
Mm.
right, that wherever you are, if you think you're not good at something, or you think that like, hey, maybe this is not my strength, wait first. Don't decide so fast.
Mm.
Maybe, just maybe, it is just somewhere inside you haven't figured out yet.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
you should go out more often, right? Discover yourself.
That's
Then
right.
then you may realize that, hey, I'm actually good at something.
That's right.
Uh,
So therefore, when I talk about today's topic, 3 investment you must have as a fresh grad.
mm.
I want to bring it in, right?
Mm.
So when I talk about 3 investment that we must have as a fresh grad,
Mm.
I think for me personally, it comes down to 3 areas. The first investment is an investment to help you make more money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To allow you to create more value and make money.
Mm.
Number two, it's an investment towards growing your money.
Eh? How is it different from the first one?
Okay, I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
Number three is an investment to protect your money.
Mm. Okay.
So that's my category of it, lah, right?
Right.
So what is an investment to make money? Okay, make money means you create money out of thin air.
Okay.
Okay, what do I mean by
So
that?
you work lah.
Correct.
Use your energy, use your time
energy.
to exchange for money.
Yes, your skill
Right.
set,
Mm.
because not everyone here is born with money.
Mm.
Now, when we talk about the next subject is actually growing money. Growing money requires money to grow money.
Mm.
Agree?
Agree?
Yeah, if you got no money, how are you going to grow money? And that generally is investment, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. But which one is more important?
You have to make money first.
You have to
If
make money
not, you
first, right?
cannot grow money.
That's right. Yeah. So for most people, I would say 90% of the people out there, their main source of wealth will be number one or number two.
Number one.
Likely is gonna be number one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. The other day I just met a lady, right? This person that I know, although did not have a lot of savings,
Mm.
but have a huge, strong income stream.
Mm.
You are talking about like a mid-level 5-figure income,
Wow.
right? You're talking
Okay.
about mid-level 5-figure income.
Right.
So even the person didn't save much, and then the person left maybe about like 10, 20 years more to work, right? You got no problem.
Yeah. This person can live quite comfortably.
Correct. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Because if this person lifestyle is only 10K, right? You still have like 30 to 40K,
Yeah. Yeah. Can buy handbag, can buy watches, yeah, can buy a lot of things.
That's right. That's
Mm.
right. Yeah. So making money is extremely important. So we are talking about the investment of making money. Then
Mm.
number two, the investment of growing your money. And that's where you are gonna share definitely a lot more on that, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Actually, all three also you're gonna share more, lah. Then finally, the last one is about protecting your money,
Mm.
right? I think there's one thing that if you were to pick out from the recent book that we have been reading by Morgan Housel called Same as Ever,
Mhm.
yeah, is the fact that no matter how sure you are, things are gonna hit the fan,
Correct.
the only certain thing is change, right? And
Correct.
and that's why there's black swan, right?
Mm.
Black swan is just gonna fly past eventually. It's just when and he. There's the thing, right? They call it black swan. Why? Oh, suddenly we see it, right?
Mm.
Yeah, but you know black swan is there.
Mm.
You know black swan exists in the world. It's
Yep.
just that you rarely see it.
Yep.
And when it comes, you don't know when it comes.
Yep.
And so how do we protect our money?
Mm.
That will be the thing that we want to talk about, right? So
Sounds interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
so let's start with the first one, right? Let's start with talking about investment in making money.
Mm.
Now, for yourself, as
Right.
a fresh grad, what were some investments you made
Mm.
to help yourself to be able to carry more value and create more
Mm.
value as a fresh grad?
Okay, first of all, I think we need to go back a little bit further, right? So everybody knows that once you hit come out from university, you need to step into the society. That's when you're gonna start to work and make a living, perhaps start a family, and then yada yada, and then finally you pass away, right? You die. So because of that, before you step into the society, when you go into the university, I think it's important to at least go and survey and see what is the current demand in the market, right? Like for example, right now, right, AI is very hot, right? And perhaps you may think that, perhaps I want to go into IT, learn more about it. Maybe one day I come out, the job is in demand, so I can demand a higher pay. Now, why you want to do that is because once you step into the society, you like it or not, you are going to spend 9 to 5.
Mhm.
But everybody's 9 to 5 is different. Somebody, if you do low level job, your 9 to 5 can only pay you a minimum wage. But if you go into a field that is in very high demand in the market, then your employer don't mind to pay you a higher price. That's when you can make more money with the same amount of time. So I think um, I would actually start from there onwards, like the university, the transition between a student life and a working life, to at least try to find your starting point in society.
Okay.
Mm.
So the first thing to do is to invest time
Invest
to
time
actually
in yourself.
research what
Correct.
is the needs in the
Mm.
market, right? Yeah, so we are talking about that. Invest time to research what are the market's needs right now
Mm.
and see whether you can play a role in fulfilling those needs,
Yes.
right? Remember at one point, right? The Web3 was booming.
Mm.
And suddenly, a lot of those 18, 19 years old people who were very much on Discord suddenly found an opportunity to become what they call a community manager.
Mm.
And they made a lot of money just by being community manager, right?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
4,000 USD because it was international jobs.
Mm.
So 18-year-old get paid 4,000 USD, you're talking about 10 over 1,000.
Mm.
Yeah, and suddenly this group of people are just like, wow, raining with cash, right?
Cash.
Then
Yeah.
the question is that, and they're still studying.
Mm.
That's
Part-time job.
yeah,
Hui.
part-time job only.
So
Yeah.
good.
So that is one of a very, very good example. Now,
Mm.
so for you, that was the first step you did.
Yeah.
Subsequently, what did you do to actually continuously invest in your ability to generate value? Yeah,
Mm.
maybe after that, then will be my turn to share my
Okay,
experience, right?
can. All right. So, for myself, obviously, since day one, my parents have been telling me that doing business is the way to go, right? So my mindset is always to do business, but I don't know how to do business, right? But anyway, I took accounting and finance because that's the closest to business. Once I come out, there's opportunity in banking. I thought, great, going into banking, I can learn a lot of things. So actually, to me, right, going to work in the bank feels like continue going to school because every day is a new day. You get to learn different things. You get to learn about oil and gas. You get to learn about plantation. You get to learn about different things, right? And then from there, then you start to realize, oh, actually, this is how the world works. So maybe one day, if I grow a bit older, then we become the leaders of the world already, ma. Then perhaps I can contribute in a different manner. So yeah, so to the point is continue to invest time in yourself to find ways to increase your value
Mm,
so that you can continue to look for a better pay.
mm.
So in that sense, it's continue to make more money lah, by enriching yourself with more knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah. And then from there, then you search for job law. Hey, now I got this skill already. You want to pay me higher? I come and
Mm,
join
mm,
you.
mm.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. So I think towards the late 20s, it's still in that stage for me
Right,
lah.
right. Then subsequently?
Subsequently, I feel okay lah. I think I'm ready already. So let's come out and try something. So then come out, and then eventually we came out together, and then that
Mm,
time we were just started go into it without knowing what is going to be the outcome,
mm.
right? That time we were still in a very small studio,
Yeah.
yeah, very decent, just three people, three of us, right? Yeah, so it just started lor. Then from there, it's still making money, but right now what we are trying to do is to maximize the ability to make
No,
money.
let's before we talk about the company, right?
Right.
Talk about yourself, right?
Okay.
At that point, right? So you mentioned that earlier days you invested time to research what the market need,
Mm-hmm.
and then after you try to fulfill that need,
Right.
then the next part was that you invested in your ability, in your knowledge,
Mm.
so that you know a lot of things, and this is relevant to
To my job.
your job lah,
Ah.
right? Yeah,
But my job is special lah.
yeah, it's
Because
special lah.
my job
Ah.
allows me to use my knowledge to also do the second thing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And then subsequently, then you left.
Mm.
And this time round, what was the investment to actually make more value?
Mm.
What was the investment? Do you kind of recall? If not, I can remind you one.
Please.
Okay. I think number one,
Hey.
you could have worked for other people and still and gain about 20 over 30,000 every month.
Why you go and disclose to other people?
So
Mm.
and while we are talking about investing your time to create more value for yourself, to
Mhm.
make sure that you can bring more value into the world,
Mm.
or eventually have a company that creates an even higher value, the
Mhm.
first thing is that you actually invested your salary, right, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain
Correct.
extent, you have invested a career,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah, and then subsequently, yeah lah, you have to invest a lot of things lah.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean less of a financial thing, but a lot more time. It's
Mm.
just a lot of effort and that steep learning curve to learn new things, right? Every
Mm.
time.
That's why time is gold, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, time is more valuable than gold, in fact.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also something that Tony mentioned when
Mhm.
I was talking in the Banana Bros, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We are compiling a series of interview with all these
Interesting
leaders.
businesses.
Yeah, interesting businesses and leaders, and talking about money and their purpose,
Mm.
right? So stay tuned to it. It's gonna come out later.
Yeah.
Now, anything else that you can think of?
Not really.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So do you feel like you are at the point in your life, right, where you know you can make money wherever you go?
Yeah. You mean at that point in time?
No, right now.
Right now? Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think this is the difference between back then as a fresh grad and today. Do you realize? Like,
Because as you grow more mature, you see so many things. You know where are the opportunities, one. It's whether you want to go and grab it or not.
that's right.
Mm.
Yeah. So now suddenly I think that's where the difference between when I say three things that you have to invest in. The first investment, invest in your ability to make money.
Mm.
The thing is that I'm not talking about employment.
Mm.
I'm not talking about going to someone and then just exchange your time for money.
Mm.
I think that is not make money. That is actually waiting for people to pay you money
Mm-hmm.
by doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's not good. It's just that it is a lot more passive.
Mm.
No. I think making money is having the confidence to say, right, tomorrow, even when this company, whether we make it or not, you are kind of certain how you're going to generate income,
Mm.
right? I mean, you will feel sad. You may feel demotivated for a while.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Then pick yourself up. Okay, lah, go for the next option. No?
go for the next option, and then
Yeah.
something will just come up, right?
Mm.
There's this sense of security and confidence that you're not waiting for people to pay you, but rather you are actively creating value,
Mm.
and people will pay you for the value that you create.
Mm.
Now, I find it hard to explain, but that's something that I want to share with you guys out there, right, as an audience. It's very different. It is very different. And that's why when I always tell people this one thing, right? If you think that your job is secure, your job may not be that secure, because your job security totally depends on whether the company is going to retain you or
Yeah.
or fire or
Hire or
retrench
fire
you, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you have the ability to make money,
Mm.
you are not solely dependent on whether your employer retrench you or keep you.
Mm.
You have the ability to make money despite of anything. You will go and find the opportunity. That is actually the difference in that security.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was the journey for yourself, right? For those of you out there, if you are watching this and you share the same journey or share the same view, please share with us in the comments as well, right?
Mm.
Now, maybe I'll just share my personal thought on how I actually invested in myself.
Mm.
I took definitely a lot more different path than you because I did not do a specialized degree, but rather was human development and business management, which
That's
means
also
that
quite specialized.
not really, not really. It was business management, then sociology also half.
Oh.
So everything half. I can't be an accountant.
Mm.
I can't be a psychologist.
Okay.
It's half, right?
Okay. General lah.
A general degree lah.
Okay.
General degree.
But you
right?
touch every subject lah.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I touched human development, which was sociology, and
Mm.
gave me a good background in psychology.
Mm.
Now, I think the first investment I made was I wasn't as smart as Frankie to search for market opportunity. Although that time I still quite unaware one, quite gong gong one, because my family are not business family ma. So not very financially aware lah. I was just following a path, go and get the job and everything all.
Mm.
Until the first thing that I started investing, I would say that I invested in reading. Yeah, like for Frankie, you invested in knowledge in terms of your work,
On the
right?
job training.
And then your work allows you to meet
Yeah.
many different business people, and then you learn from that. But
Mm.
for some other people out there, if let's say they are an accountant or they are say like a video editor, this kind of access may not be there for them.
Mm.
So how do you improve yourself, right? I think the first thing is actually invest in books, read. There's nothing better than reading. Yes, you can watch all the YouTube video you want, but invest in reading and listening to podcasts,
Mm.
long form video contents, long form listening kind of stuff that gives you real solid meat, right? It really helps you to see things differently. Now that's for one.
Mm.
I think number two is invest in network. Invest in network because I think the ability to make money has two ends. Number one is that you have the value. Number two, you can find people who
Huh.
need your value,
Correct.
right?
If you got no network, you don't know who is going to buy your stuff,
That's
right?
right. That's right. I've met so many people who are so good in what they do, but they just do not know how to sell,
Mm.
or either they do not have a network to sell to, right? So invest in network. And I don't mean by going out and find a friend and try to sell them something, right? I mean by building friendship,
Yeah.
building relationships.
Mm.
Because I think the longer we are in this industry and running a business, the more I realize that relationship is something extremely, extremely important. Not
Correct.
not like I don't know last time, lah, but it just
Uh,
becomes even more obvious.
but the feeling is very different. So to give you an example, right? In uni days, we have a lot of uni friends, am I right?
Mm,
But you see them as friends who can go clubbing together. You see them as friends that you can have fun together, right? So that's about it because you are at that age, right? But then today, if I think back, hey, how come I didn't have deeper relationship and closer relationship with all these friends? Because they're actually, I don't know, today they are somebody somewhere already, right? Then it's like, hey, if I have been closer enough, then I could have done things together with this person, and perhaps there is other opportunities that we can create.
mm,
Yeah. So today, looking back, right, there are a lot of missed opportunities in that sense.
mm.
Mm.
Yeah. So you're right, right? So invest in relationship and invest in the network, right? It's extremely important in my opinion, right? So definitely, if let's say you have no substance, then network is useless, ah.
Mm.
Yeah. But if you have substance and you have network, it's a very good combination. It's a very, very good combination. So I have to say, number one, invest in yourself, then invest in reading, in gaining knowledge, then invest in network. And finally, also last thing is that invest time to fail.
Oh,
Try new things and fail.
right.
I think that's extremely important, right?
Okay lah. I think should put it this way. You don't know whether you will fail or not, so just try.
Just try.
Because you
Yeah.
will fail one.
I would say that you will fail one. For
Uh,
sure, you will fail. That's why invest in failure.
mm,
Allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to try new things.
mm,
Allow yourself to get scolded, right?
mm,
And then pick yourself up again. It's okay. You can move on, to
mm,
another place, like sometimes even if you're working for a company, you may get scolded, then okay lah, it may break your heart, but learn from it, then move on lah.
mm.
Then maybe after you resign from this company, at least you learn from it, you go to another company, right? And then one day you're so good, you come back again, you can tell you, see, now I'm damn good already, right?
Yeah.
So all these kind of thing lah. So I would say that invest in failure. Why invest in failure is very important because it allows you to take risks, which for me lead to the second point lah, to a certain extent.
Mm,
Invest in failure, it's about the ability to take risks, the ability to accept uncertainty and then take risks along the way and learn and work it through.
mm.
Yeah, so that is for me the first part of the investment that we are talking about. Now, so I want to relate this to the second part of it, which is investing, growing your money, right?
Mm.
So the interesting thing is that today I was actually at FIMMAC, the annual conference of
Financial investment
yeah,
manager something like
financial investment manager of Malaysia
Yeah.
annual conference. Basically, what happened is that today the conference, the people who attended are people from the industry. You can see people from ASB, people from fund houses. I was in the same panel with Dato Matthew, the Kenanga CEO, with um, uh, Security Commission, with
Mm.
Pon Balkis from EPF, like that. All these people are right,
Mm.
all in very, very intelligent people who are up there, lah, right? Put it that way. And Rajan,
Mm.
then the guy who actually moderated was a professor. He
Mm.
was a CIO for Credit Suisse in New York.
Oh wow.
Yeah, smart, right? And
Yeah.
he's on the advisory board on CPF as well in
Oh.
Singapore. See, all these are very, very smart people.
Mm.
Now, and one thing that when they ask me what's my view about retirement, so everyone gave their view about retirement. Naturally, everyone gave very, very big, like policy systematic related, because there's their field, right? And then when they
Mm.
asked me this thing, what I said was was this. I think today the landscape towards gaining wealth has changed a lot. It is very different from our parents' day where they can just work normal income, eventually buy a house in Damansara because the time 100 over thousand only. They save in FD, they get 8-9%, and then
Mm.
eventually they retire very comfortably,
Mm.
right? Today that's not gonna happen to any of us.
Right.
The proportion of house price and your salary is very, very different.
Mm.
The income that you have today and your parents' days as a fresh grad is not too far away.
Mm.
But your parents had wonton mee at $1.
Yeah.
You are having wonton mee at 9 ringgit.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is not gonna happen to you. Their FD rate is 8%, your FD rate is 4%.
Mm.
Number two, the global system of investment is always dependent on new value generated. What do we mean by that? In order for you to make money, someone have to give money. Does it make sense?
A zero-sum game.
It's a zero sum game.
Mm.
For investment value to go up, profit need to go up. Profit need to go up means someone need to pay them money.
Mm.
That's how it works, right? But we have one big issue. The younger we are experiencing rapid aging to a certain extent as a population.
Mm.
By 2005 something, Malaysia will be a super age society.
Mm.
Yeah, which means many of our people
20
are
more years.
super old. Which means by then we are
Our
old.
our age lah.
Our kids, there's only very little young people,
Mm.
That's the point. Then, and all old people like us at about 60 years old, how much money can we make some more? The value is lower.
Correct.
We are just busy accumulating wealth by then by investment. But the
Mm.
younger people are not paying towards EPF already.
Mm.
So all these crises are going to start happening and they are preparing it now. But the point that I want to make is this, right? That story is no more.
Mm.
So in the traditionally, whenever we talk about investment, we always say safe investment means 4%,
Mm.
right? Today, you can't afford safe investment. Let me just put it this way. Right?
You will not have enough money.
You will not have enough money. Unless you're earning 20 over thousand, you can afford to have safe investment.
Yeah.
But that is also provided that you don't really spend money and at least 30 to 40% of your income is being saved up.
Mm.
Yeah, if not, you're not going to retire well as well.
Yeah, put it this way, at the peak of the US inflation, right, when US inflation was at 9%, the maximum they can give you on your FD is only 5%. So
right.
every dollar that you put, you're still losing 4%.
That's right. Yeah. So think about it this way, right? So I was saying this thing. That's why the key is actually in educating people.
Mm.
Because risk is actually relative. It is not relative towards how much can you get back in return, but rather relative to how much you know about a subject matter.
Mm.
Right? So think about it like when we always say this, right? For younger people who have 30 years, you should take a long-term horizon investment. You can invest in the most aggressive equities fund
Mm.
or whatever assets. Why? Because you got 30 years as your cycle. Eventually, it will go up.
Mm.
But what happened is that because people do not have that knowledge,
They
these
delay
people,
that process.
yes, and then they will invest in money market fund.
Mm.
And what value money market fund generates?
3-4%.
Yeah, but if you invest in equity, you are generating value back into the society because you're investing in a business. Technically, yeah. And I would even argue that to a certain extent, investing in business rather than the stock market alone
Mm. Brings more value.
brings more value because
Yeah.
you're creating new employment opportunity and so on and so forth, right?
Mm.
Then only you can reach a better retirement. So my point is this. People are very weird. People say that stock investment is very risky. They say 15%, they'll go like, oh, very risky, either not good enough.
Mhm.
Then suddenly their auntie, uncle call them or their friend call them and say, hey, I got this investment scheme, call, don't know what name, like that. Then every month I can give you 2%, Then 1 year you get 12%. Whoa, very good. Then put all their money in and then end up in scam,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So my point is this. I think it is very important for us to invest to grow our money because it's not like you have a choice anyway. you really have no choice.
Yep. You
Yeah.
have to do it.
You just have to do it. Yeah. So that's my thought about this.
Mm.
Well, what about you when it comes to investing in growing money?
Mm.
How do you approach this subject matter?
Okay. I don't look it so far, lah, right? So I look at it from a personal perspective. Okay. So after I managed to get a job, make money and all that, right? So now, next step is that I cannot be working my whole entire life just to sustain my lifestyle, even after I go into retirement. So I need something extra so that one day if I don't work anymore or I can't work, then there's something to replace my income. So what is the best choice, right? Number one, it would be investment, no? Is to make my money to work for me. Now, the earlier you start, the better. Because, okay, again, because I come from accounting and finance background, right? So in school, they teach you compounding, right? The compounding effect takes place earlier, then your impact will be larger towards later in the future. So actually, not too far after I graduated and got a job, I already started to do some form of investment, small amount and things like that. With a very very personal goal, is that at the end of the day, when I retire, I must have X amount of money, right? And then I just did that calculation once only. Then after that, I don't look at it anymore. Now, in the beginning, the first 3 to 5 years, I was a little bit demotivated because
Mm.
I look at things too simplistically. Because I just think, okay, if every year I can increase my income by 10%, then by this age, I would get this amount. But at the beginning stage of your career, right, especially when you're fresh grad, right, your value don't come so fast one.
Mm.
Like your first year, second year, third year, you are still learning and people will still see you as a junior. They're not confident enough to give you very big responsibility. So it's very hard for you to do like, 10 years every year kind of increment. So the first few years was a little bit difficult, but nonetheless, I still took a bit of money and put into investment. So that portion of the money is doing quite okay right now, lah. So I don't have that perspective of like, in the future things become so expensive that even if you earn 30, 40,000, you're not able to pay. But I'm just purely looking at the compounding interest perspective.
That's
And
right.
if I continue to do that, it should be able to get somewhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
talking about that, right? You see the irony is this, right? When you're younger, you're supposed to take more risk,
Mm.
right? Um, in investing, so because you got longer term horizon. But also when you're younger,
You got no money.
you have no money, right?
Yeah.
When you're older, then when you got the money to take risks,
Yeah.
but you're not supposed to take risks. You see the
Yes.
irony, right? And
Yes.
and that's why people lose money in scams
Mm.
to a certain extent because they thought they can take the risk
Mm.
at that age, but you're not supposed to take risks already by then.
Yes.
So and the ability to handle risk, it's not just the compounding of the value, no. It's
Mm.
also the compounding of the knowledge and the ability to take risks.
Yeah.
You
Sidetrack a bit. That's why when you're a young fresh grad, right, property investment is the best. It gives you the best
oh.
leverage. 10 times. Yeah, but anyway, sorry.
So for me, uh,
Sidetrack a bit.
I don't know what to say, but I
Mm,
I agree and I disagree, but
mm,
I think it is good.
mm.
But I wouldn't say it's the best thing.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's 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 that's
It's
just
just
me.
agree and disagree, right?
Yeah, correct,
I
correct.
mean, if you think about it, you got 50,000,
Mm,
and then you want to really, you say leverage the best.
yeah,
You can also leverage 20 times and buy Nvidia. What?
that's true.
Ah.
Mm. But I choose to leverage 10 times and buy a 500,000 house lah.
See, it's your call, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
the same thing as
Correct,
you.
correct.
But yeah, I think it comes down to individual lah.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. Now, but what I want to say is that I see you make me forget it. Yeah.
Yo.
But what I want to say is that your capacity to take risk is also compounded along the years.
Mm,
Now, the point I want to make is that, right, if let's say you can't take, you are not willing to buy a stock because you're afraid that, like, let's say you are looking at Apple stock, or whatever
mhm,
stock,
mhm.
then you say, I don't dare buy because I got no money, right? And then you're only talking about 300 ringgit, right? I don't think when you have 300,000, you dare to buy, lah.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Still scared.
You're still scared, right?
Mm,
Yeah. So I still remember the first time I had to click the buy button at 100 over 1,000.
mm.
It was
Wow.
damn scary.
Mm,
It was so scary, right? Yeah. Today you ask me to buy stock few thousand, it's like kacang putih already.
mm,
But I can recall back then when I was fresh grad in my first few years, I'm very scared when I put in 2,000 ringgit into stocks.
Mm.
Yeah. But again, yeah, when buy a house, you're not scared. Why? Because your parents tell you it's okay. Right?
Confidence from parents.
Confident for parents. Because you see it,
Mm.
like they say, right? At the end of the day, you still can touch.
Mm.
So I think the last point that I want to circle back to is that whether you like it or not, you are confirmed not going to be able to retire comfortably if you're not going to be investing.
Mm.
Unless you're earning very well.
Yep.
Right? Unless you're earning a lot of money.
You need to earn faster than the economic growth.
That's right.
That's the point. Yeah.
So that is a confirm. Investment, although there's some risk, it means that there's a chance.
Mm.
So I feel that if you don't invest, you
No chance.
have no chance. You get what I mean, right?
Mm.
And sometimes I don't understand why the logic they don't see that, right, people. But that's the truth. Right? If I tell you if you don't turn on the, let's say today you are sitting down there in a what do you call it? You are in the hospital and doctor say if you don't take this operation, right, you will confirm die in 2 days.
Mm.
But if you do this operation, I'm not sure whether are you going to die in the bed, but there's a 50% chance that you can live on.
Mm.
What's a better choice?
See, I stunned already. Mm.
So if the doctor tell you, right, if you don't do this surgery, you're going to die in the next 2 days. Confirm, nothing to talk about, right? Confirm.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. But if let's say you do this surgery, you may still die after 2 days,
Right.
but there's a 50% chance that you can live.
Mm.
What will you do?
So my answer is going to sidetrack again, right? But so better not, because my answer would be depend whether I still want to live or not, right?
Okay. Assuming if you want to live.
Yeah,
that will be
of
fine.
course. Then assuming if I want to live, you have a 50% chance of continue living compared to 2 days later you confirm you die. Then of course you take the chance lah, right? 50% is quite a high chance, you know.
That's right.
Ah.
That's right. Yeah, that's my point there, right?
Correct.
That's my point there. And if let's say you're talking about a long-term cycle of 30 years, I think the chances that there's a good quality stock will do well is a little bit more than 50%.
Yes. Correct. Because
bit more lah.
stocks are businesses that continue to create value. So over time, technically speaking, they should continue to go up and up.
That's right. So yeah, that's my point there. Yeah. So if you don't invest, it's even bigger risk. That's the whole point there. Now, let's move on to the next risk that we want to talk about here is the risk of protecting your money. I think this one is something that all of us will forget one. All of us don't want to talk about it. Okay. Frankie, when I understand your family don't buy insurance, right? So you only bought insurance when you graduated, right?
My parents bought for me, but very small amount.
Okay. Now, I think I opened up the topic on insurance too fast also. Let's hold that thought there.
Okay.
Let me just explain what does it mean by protecting your money, right? Think about it this way, right? If something happens to you yesterday and you can't claim insurance, let's say just a few days back, I was celebrating my niece's birthday in a restaurant. Did I tell you the story?
No.
So he was, and then the brother was sitting on the chair, leaning against the back of the chair. Then he fell. And when he fell, he hit his head on the stairs of the restaurant.
Oh, you.
And there was a cut this big, about 2 inch lah. Yeah. Immediately it started bleeding. Obviously, you need to go to hospital. Yeah. And the nearest hospital was Columbia Asia. Okay. And so my sister sent him to the hospital immediately admitted. That night itself, he has to stay there because it's quite big. You have to do general anesthesia and then only you can do the stitching. Total bill was, I think, close to 20,000 or 12,000 or something like that. I think 12.
So serious, huh?
I don't know why they charge so much. Anyway, 12,000.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I was thinking to myself, right? If that moment my sister didn't have an insurance, what's the first thing that's going to come to her mind?
I need to swipe my credit card.
You think about it, when your child hit the head like that, right? Have a cut. So I've been poor before, right? The first thing that's going to come to your mind is, oh my God.
Cannot go Columbia Asia.
Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
The nearest is Columbia. Now I need to think. Now I need to be very calm and think, where is the nearest government hospital? And when you're in Puchong, right near IOI there, Where's the nearest government hospital?
I don't know. Putrajaya, is it?
Correct. You also don't know, right? I also don't know. Yeah. Then by
Mm.
then, one hand you need to make sure that the other daughter is not too scared.
Mm.
The other hand, you need to put it on your child's head to ensure that the blood doesn't flow too much.
Mm.
On the other hand, your husband is panicking,
Mm.
and then now you need Google.
Mm.
Where's the nearest hospital? How would you feel at the point?
Kalam kabut.
Kalam kaput, right?
Yeah.
It won't be a good feeling.
Mm.
Yeah. And because she had the insurance, the privilege was very simple.
Mm.
Columbia Asia behind, just drive over.
Mm.
No need to talk, no need to ask, just go in immediately.
Mm.
We won't think about that, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And if if it wasn't for that, today my sister would be 12,000 ringgit poorer.
Poorer.
Yeah. And anyway, for
Yeah.
a normal family, 12,000 ringgit is quite a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah. So Frankie,
Mm.
when do you first bought insurance?
I first bought my insurance once I started working, but it's for a very
Oh,
different
so good
purpose.
boy.
Very different purpose, and I think I shared the reason with you before. So, is purely because of tax. It,
Mm.
I I didn't think about knocking your head and then bleed and then have to find hospital and all that. Because you're young ma. You young, you think you're invincible one ma. You think you won't die one ma, right? But then you see your income when you file your income tax, you need to pay income tax again. Why not I just take this money and just buy an insurance, right? Like, at least I got protection. So I use the money to buy insurance purely for that purpose.
Mm.
Yeah, purely for that purpose. So I was naive during that time.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But that naivety,
Yeah, yeah. Today is a benefit lah.
and up to today, have you claimed already or not?
Those small things lor.
You have claimed before, lah.
I've claimed before.
Oh.
Yeah, but for small stuff lah.
Oh, what have you claimed before?
Like the most recent claim that I did was I not sure whether you remember at one point my eye bengkak, right? Bengkak very big.
Oh.
So I did an operation. Then my agent said, "Oh, this one can claim one. You faster go and claim." So I went to claim about 2,000 over ringgit.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay, if not, you have been 2,000 ringgit poorer.
Correct. So a lot of times it's small stuff like this lah. So sometimes
Oh.
I maybe I don't know twisted here and there, and then I will ask like, hey, this one can claim or not? That one can claim or not? I want to claim. Just for fun, you know.
Hey, you're one of those claim, then make the price so expensive later. Yeah. My story was that I actually didn't buy insurance at the moment I graduate.
Oh.
People has been trying to tell me to buy. And in fact, my family was a little bit trying to stinge on it.
Mm.
So, just to share with you a couple of stories that made me realize that, oh wow, you really need to protect your money.
Mm.
Yeah, that's not a joke, right? So first thing was, I remember when we first graduated, before I graduated, my sister's insurance agent, who later became my manager, tried to sell us an insurance for our mother.
Mm.
He said that like, hey, your mama quite old lady, maybe should, have a insurance. If anything happen, you both need to pay money
Mm.
to send her to hospital. No.
Mm.
Then my sister think about it very long. I also think about it a little bit, but I'm student, so I got no money. So never mind, it's okay. Then my sister say, "Ayo, these 2 years I never see you claim before anything. You barely even go to clinic.
Mm.
What makes you think that you're gonna go clinic?"
Mm.
Yeah, that's true also. That's true also. So we didn't buy.
Mm.
2 months later, actually about a year later, not 2 months later. A year later, she had a mini stroke, a very small stroke.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was discovered that she has this thing called ET extra thrombosis. Basically means that her blood thickens a lot. Her blood is quite thick compared to normal people. It is quite abnormal. It's not cancerous, but it's borderline cancerous if not managed properly.
Okay.
Yeah, if not managed properly, it turns leukemia.
Oh.
So she goes to. So imagine the drugs that she takes is actually on-call drugs, which means cancer drugs.
Mm.
Now, who had to pay?
You all have to pay lo?
Me and my sister supposed to pay lah. These days we pay lah. Last time she pay lah.
Mm.
And every time she go, how much?
I don't know.
What happened was, I tell you this is the worst part
Uh.
Okay, so that time, my mother can you imagine she was at home. Suddenly she said, I feel very feverish
Mm.
and I feel very hard to breathe.
Mm.
So we're like, oh wow, maybe nothing lah. Then it just got worse. You can see her cramps and everything, and then she can't even walk. Then okay, what's the first thing that you're gonna do?
Faster go hospital lah.
Okay, because she doesn't have insurance,
Uh.
you know what she say? Send me to the nearest clinic. Let's not go hospital. Too expensive.
Oh.
Because nearest hospital is private.
Right.
And the government hospital is gonna be either GH or either Hospital Sungai Buloh or either UH.
Selayang.
Either Selayang.
Mm.
Nearest is just right outside the house, Ara Damansara, Thompson, or either some Sunway lah, right? Whatever lah. Now, so can you imagine that, right? So I totally understand what that means, right? And then the doctor actually told my mom and said, "Aya, you're probably having a heat stroke." The doctor also checked out and told my mother having a heat stroke. Then she rested, she was okay, but we felt it's very abnormal.
Uh-huh.
So eventually, when we go to church the next day, a doctor friend say, after he hear the condition, he's like, I don't think that's a heat stroke. You better go to emergency ward. Just go UH, do a check. So we went.
This is how long? 1 day later.
1 day later.
Oh.
Then doctor say, you had a stroke lah. Wow, I tell you, that feeling you never forget one. And you know what's the best part? Okay, then test result came back. Hey, you may be having blood cancer, you know. It could be leukemia. Based on the test result, it looks like leukemia. In order for us to truly find out, you need to extract the bone marrow.
Yeah.
Bone marrow. Your arrangement is gonna be 1 month late. No, 3 months later.
Too late lah.
Too late, right? So we were debating for 2-3 weeks. Do we pay money and send her to Columbia Asia? Or either whichever hospital lah, right? Sunway, wherever lah, that's nearest to our house. But bone marrow extraction is expensive, you know. It's not a small procedure, it's an expensive procedure. You're talking about double digit amount, right? Double digit thousands, right? So eventually my mother said, you know what? I don't want to do any of that. I'll wait. Yeah, so for the 3 months, our whole family were like kanchong, man. I tell you really
Right.
kanchong. Really, really.
So
very
she
kanchong.
really waited 3 months later
She
to do
waited.
the. Oh.
Waited. Yeah.
But luckily, these 3 months, nothing.
Then nothing.
Yeah.
Then came back the result is not cancer. It's just a
lucky.
abnormal. Your blood is just not very normal lah. So then after it's you just need to be treated. Then put her in, and she was seen by a professor and stuff like that. Okay, now. So if you think you're healthy, right? Sometimes you feel like you want to stinge on this particular thing. And it's not too far from the concept of diversification investment, right? Sometimes you think that we don't need diverse because we know it all, right? But the truth is, you also need diverse.
Correct.
You can't be like...
Because you don't know when accident is going to happen.
That's right, yeah. So diversification is actually a protection of your money, whether is it insurance, whether is it a different kind of thing. But nonetheless, right? So I myself, you thought I would have learned this lesson. Actually, I didn't learn it. What happened is that after I graduated, I thought I'm so healthy, right? Someone come and ask me to buy insurance. I said, wait. Because I was thinking to myself, save a bit more first, you know. Then since company also go give me insurance,
That's true.
Company also go give me insurance, Why need to spend that money? And okay lah. Then after I delay, then I can go into hospital. But then I learned one thing. My company insurance got limitation one. Only cover me 10,000. Anything more than 10K, you need to pay yourself. Wow, I tell you, for that 3 days I was in hospital, right, I was praying so hard that the bill don't exceed 10K, no.
Last time still can. Now I think very hard.
And you know what's the bill? 9,900 plus. And the time I just borrowed money from my mother to invest in the stock market. So if let's say I have to pay the money, means I need to liquidate my stock investment, right? Yeah. So that's the whole idea lah. So I think these are some of the very common things, right? I'm very healthy. I don't need I have company insurance, right? Yeah, I don't need, right? Yeah. So it's an extra cost, an extra burden. That's how we may see it. Now, but try to think of it this way, right? Try to think of it this way. Like, let's say you have a small umbrella. What does it cover? You only cover a head lah. Malaysia always rain, right?
Yeah.
Now you got kids, right? Yeah. Do you use bigger
No.
umbrella or smaller?
Now I always use the big
The
umbrella.
big
The
umbrella,
bigger
right?
the better.
Yes. So what if the rain is so big? Then what happens is that you'll need a bigger insurance so that it can cover your whole body and your family that's with you and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? So it's just like umbrella, right? It's the same concept as an insurance, right? Yeah, your company insurance is like the small umbrella, lah. It has a limitation depending on the company policy. Yeah, so what if it's not enough to cover any of these emergency bill? Like in my case, only 10K. But you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely not enough.
So if that's the case, you will need to fork out extra money to actually settle the balance. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, right? Hey, maybe my company coverage quite a lot. Let me tell you another thing. If let's say tomorrow, you got a call from another company. The company said, I want to headhunt you over, pay you double. Tomorrow you have to resign and start work. Will you do that? Okay lah, right?
Good lah.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
You resign.
Yep.
Next day on the way to work, you fell sick.
Oh.
How?
Haven't buy insurance, right? Sorry lah.
So
9,900 no
no,
more.
and don't forget, your probation some more. So you see, company insurance only covers you if you are with the company.
Yeah.
So if you're no longer with the company or there's a period that you're not with the company, you won't be under those coverage, right? So, and by then, if you want to buy your own insurance some more, number one, I don't know whether you got the health to think about it or not. Number two, also it's more expensive lah, right?
Correct. Because as you age, I think the price will go up higher.
That's
also, right?
That's right. So we always tell people this thing, right? Insurance is something very peculiar. It is not something that you can buy when you need it. You can only buy it when you don't need it. Yeah. So think about it, right? Yeah. It is something that you can buy, you only can buy when you don't need. Yeah. But when you need it, you cannot buy. That's the irony of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, which is like,
Same as investment also lah, right?
That's right, right? You see the market fly, you can't expect to put in the money now, right?
Correct.
You're not going to get the returns, right?
Correct. You need to diversify before it happens.
That's right. Yeah. So I think just like investing in medical insurance is just like investment. You can't predict what's gonna happen, but you know that somewhere along the line there is a huge chance of it happening at least once in your life. So you want to get prepared for that moment, right? Now, so then here's the thing.
But what if I'm so good, right?
What if?
Yeah, so good. Never even the one time also don't kena.
Yes.
How?
What if you're so good? Never one time also never kena. Number two, what if you're so young and your pay is not that high and you feel like you want to use your money elsewhere, right? Just like me. It's not that I wasn't aware. It's just that.
See whether can delay a bit longer, right? Because I need something else.
So the good news is this. Actually, there are medical insurance plans out there that can reward you for being healthy and allow you to pay less when you don't make any claims. So last time there's the other version of it, but I think the latest version of it under Prudential one is called Pro Million Med Active. Yeah. So this particular medical insurance plan, it gives you an upfront discount of 15% on insurance charges until you make a claim. Only it will raise back up to the base price. So this is really a one-of-a-kind kind of insurance plan that adopt the concept of active pricing lah. So this helps to cater to you who less likely make any claims. Yeah.
This is the upfront discount.
That's right. And that's why in this episode, we are also collaborating with Prudential to talk about this particular plan, right? Yeah. So we're just going to do a very quick plug on this. For those of you out there, if you are thinking that you are very healthy and you think that you already have company insurance and it's quite sufficient, but you are also afraid, right? That just what if in between jobs, just what if later when you're older and then you think it's about time that you want to get it, it's already too expensive. Well, this is the kind of plan for you. Pro Million Med Active allows you to lock down and purchase an insurance plan at an upfront discount. Yeah. when you don't make any claims. Why? Because you're going to claim from a company, and then number two, you're very healthy.
Correct.
So the chances of claiming is lower. So therefore, you
Mm.
don't have to pay up so much. You can save up that extra money for other things.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's all about when you are when you're claiming lesser, yeah, then you also get rewarded lah. In other words, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah. By the way, just to share with you guys, right? We mentioned the word active pricing. So what does this active pricing mean, right? It means that if you use more claims, your insurance charges will then be higher. But then if you don't claim for a certain period of time, the insurance charges will then adjusted back to the discounted level. Now, this is one thing that is rather good because it, number one, helps you save money.
Mm.
Number two, also, you don't simply claim, no.
And number three, I think this is sort of like try to motivate you to try to stay healthy, right? Because if you one day you need to claim, then the premium is going to go up, right? So I will live healthily, try to do more exercise and things like that, so that every year I get that discount.
That's right. That's right. So the whole idea here is that you can actually take way more control on your medical insurance and control the amount that you want to pay in a way, right? Just don't claim lah. Just make sure if any claim, your claim company don't simply claim your own one lah, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
stay healthy, right? So
right.
like that, then you have more control.
Right.
Now, so going back to that, I want to move to the next part of protecting your money, right? Will be on the subject of how to protect via investing, right? Now, here's the part. What about diversification as a protection of your investment?
Okay, when you look at investment, right, I'm sure everybody here, when you look at your portfolio, you have your favorite stocks, right? Like you keep mentioning the word N, right? So that is probably your favorite stock. I don't know. But when you do that investment, I'm pretty sure you are not 100% sure that the stock is going to go up, right? And probably you hear from other source of information that perhaps there are certain things happening in different industries as well that you may want to also have exposure of it, but you're not very sure, right? So this is when you should do diversification to put a certain amount of money away to sort of, okay lah, I will use the word again, insurance, right? So you buy insurance on your investment so that if anything wrong happens to the favorite stock that you are so confident on, right, then at least a portion of your money is there. And if that portion of the money continue to generate money, it can at least help you to cover partial of the unwanted result on your main stocks.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So the concept is the same lah, basically.
Yeah, and it's even more, to a certain extent, it can be quite creative, right? Yeah. Remember we talked about futures the other day?
Yeah.
We talked about futures the other day, and that was in collaboration with another financial institution.
Correct.
Yeah, and one of the things that he talked about, which I think my video with him is gonna go out tomorrow, right? Imagine if let's say today you're investing in, let's say, a stock lah, we call it
ABC lah.
we just call it ABC. And ABC is one of the forefront tech company doing very well right now, dabbling in whatever AI or whatnot lah, okay? Now, but you are also afraid. You're already making money, but you don't want to sell your stock because you think that there's still got legs to run, right? But you want to make sure that if let's say the market goes down, you're also not too affected. So you can actually think about buying futures, right? And you don't have to take out a lot of money because future got a leveraging factor.
Yes.
You just buy a future contract on say a S&P 500 or mini futures S&P 500, and you go against the position, right? You go in the short position in that sense, right? And what happened is that if let's say overall later suddenly really something happened, the overall market go down, you are somewhat protected.
So your short position will help you to cover the losses in your main portfolio.
That's right. And if let's say you think about it, right? If let's say the whole S&P 500 went down significantly, but somehow because your stock's so strong, the ABC stock only went down by 1%. Well, you 賺到啊? True or not? You think about it, you 賺到啊?
Yeah.
You double win suddenly, right? Yeah. So I think it's the same concept here, right? And I think future has this good benefit is that it only uses a small amount and leverage on a very big contract. That they were calculating, right? That amount can be quite huge. Can be like in that
basically you only need to pay like 8-9% of the face value of the underlying
contract,
asset.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if let's say it's 100,000 worth of contract, you
Mm.
only need to pay
Pay like
8,000.
8,000. Correct.
Yeah. So that leverage amount is
Mm.
high, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you get a security of that. So
Mm.
imagine if let's say you have 200,000 worth of stock investment, and you thought you want to do a 50-50
Yeah.
position,
Yeah.
you just need to take out 8,000,
Yeah.
and you still have
8,000, and then you get covered on your
ah you still have
overall. Yeah. Correct.
100,000 hedging against it, right?
Mm.
You're using very little to secure a big amount.
Yes.
I guess in a way, to a certain extent, Pro Million Active, what they're trying to do is kind of a similar
Mm.
concept lah.
Yeah.
They give you upfront discount, everything
Yeah.
all, so that you can pay less but then secure more, the kind of concept
Correct.
lah.
In
Yeah,
fact, in fact, I think you are going to talk more about this topic, right? On the 28th of September.
that's right.
It's a Saturday 10 to 12 p.m. I think you're gonna dwell more into this topic,
That's
right?
right.
To talk about how to maximize your insurance,
That's
right?
right.
And specifically, you are gonna talk about, is company insurance enough for you? Mm.
So this is almost a yearly webinar that we run already.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
every year we almost run at least once or twice how to maximize your insurance
Mm.
as our typical webinar.
Not once or
Yeah.
twice. This is twice, thrice.
Three
This
times
is
this year, meh?
no. So total time is 3 times.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah lah, every year once.
Correct.
Almost an annual event already.
Flagship event. We should call it a flagship event, right? Yeah. So by the way, this is an online event. You can check out the link there. If you are interested, you can always sign up. And then you can join Peter where he talks about whether your company insurance is enough for you or not.
Yep. So those are the 3 type of investment that every fresh grad must have to conclude today's session.
Mm.
Number 1, investing in your ability to make money.
Mm.
Number 2, invest in growing your money.
Mm.
Yeah, which also includes investing in knowledge and learning how to invest, right?
Yep.
Number 3, invest in protecting your money.
Mm.
Yeah. So these are the 3 very important investment that every fresh grad must make. Now,
Yes.
and all of these investments can come in different size and shape and form and ways, right? So we are not locking down and say that you have to go out and network. We're not saying now that you have to go for certain classes,
Yep.
right? We're not saying that you have to do certain kind of things, right?
Mhm.
But rather, in the spirit of it, these 3 are very important investment that everyone needs to have
Mm.
in their portfolio, or so to speak, their
Portfolio
life portfolio.
or life. Yes.
Yeah, portfolio of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add in to actually wrap up on today's session before we answer some questions from the people?
Yeah. I think just now we kind of open up the can of worm when we talk about futures and all that. In the next couple of weeks, we will also be talking a lot about futures content in our videos, on the YouTube videos. Like today, right now, FAQ Show just launched a new video talking about futures as well. So after this, you all can also go and check it out.
All right. Now, let's see if there's any questions here, right? There's actually one question by Bless Ang. Do we need to constantly upgrade our policy? My agent reviewed my policy every year and just upgraded last month. I wonder if it's really necessary. Now, I definitely do not know what's the content of your conversation with your agent, but what I can say is that you need to adjust your insurance policy according to your needs. I think to put it in a very classic way, right, is the difference between my insurance policy and Frankie's insurance policy,
Correct.
right? So Frankie bought it simply because of EPF.
Correct.
Not EPF, simply because of tax deduction.
Correct.
Yeah, I bought it because I was calculating how much I need if something happens. Yeah. So how much do you pay every year for your insurance policy right now?
Okay, so let's talk about that time first. Because you can claim tax up to 3,000, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I bought 3,000, no? So at that point in time, 3,000 can cover me about like 100 over 200,000. Something like that, right? I can't really remember. So I was holding that policy for a very long time, and I didn't renew my policy for a very long time simply because my objective was not for protection. My objective was for tax purpose. Until I have my kids. Now I'm older, I have kids, then suddenly my objective is different already. I need to protect myself. So I actually contacted my agent and say, we haven't been talking about my policy for a long time, right? Let's do a review and see how it goes. Today, like you mentioned, you have one card also need to have 12,000, right? Okay, so let's do a review. So after review, the agent said, okay, not enough. You need to top up. So from 3,000, right? Suddenly, when he calculated the premium, he tell me every year I need to pay 6,000. I'm like, wow, double ah. Okay lah, fair lah, right? But how much is the coverage? So it's from like 200 over 1,000. If I'm not mistaken, is how much? I think you remember better than me.
Mm.
Like what 400,000
I
only, right?
think 300-400,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my premium doubled, but my coverage is not double. So I was like, hey, like that, not worth it lah, right? But then he was telling me, right, the mistake that I made is because I didn't review regularly enough, so that when you are aged at this level right now, then they have to calculate as though this is your new policy.
That's right. That's right.
So it is as though I never buy insurance before, and then today at this age, late 30s, I need to buy a new policy. So I'm like,
That's right.
"Aiya,
That's right.
aiya." So
Yeah.
this is the mistake that I've done.
So, in contrast to Frankie's experience, what I did was that because I was in the industry, right?
Mm.
So I was definitely a lot more. I'm
Aware.
definitely a lot more. What do you call that? Aware of this.
Mm.
So what I did is that every year I just top up by about $50.
Mm.
Yeah, every year I top up about $50. Sometimes I got more money, I top up to 100, depending on my need and my income increase lah.
Mm.
So what happened is that the amount that I'm paying for insurance right now, my own personal insurance, I think adds up together has come to about 600 to 800 ringgit lah. I can't really remember.
Mm.
600 or
Mm.
I would say 600 to 800 lah. I'll just put it that way because I can't really
Mm.
remember.
Mm.
Yeah. But my coverage in total, if something happened to me, my wife get close to 2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the difference. I mean,
There's a difference,
I mean,
right?
I'm paying 600. I pay 6,000 a year.
Yeah.
But
6,000
only,
means
like-
500. I pay 600 plus ringgit
Yeah.
to 700. Even if yours double, it's still gonna be less than a million.
Correct.
Yeah. Mine is close to 2 million.
Mm.
Yeah. Cause every year I top up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. What to do? I cannot rewind time.
Yeah. So what you need to do now is just
Mm.
now you make it a practice.
Mm.
Every year just
Top
at
up 15.
top up
15 like
50,
that,
top 50, top 50 like that.
uh.
Yeah. So that's how it should work. Yeah. Mm.
Okay.
Now,
And by the way, you should do it before your birthday one, right? I remember. If not, they'll calculate it as 1 year older.
that's right. That's right. Now, so there's a person here, Vicky Nesan. I said I'm a private specialist. Don't listen to your agent. Ask your doctor. I'm not sure whether do they mean by the insurance agent that they're talking about.
Mm.
Now, I do want to clarify one thing. Like A2K Lao also say you need what not the agent thinks you need, right? I want to say that it is very important that you evaluate how much you need for your insurance.
Mm.
Yeah. Because you are going to be the person to decide. If you can't pay, the agent is not going to kasihan you.
Mm.
Right? And I'm not sure about asking doctor, because by the time you go to your doctor and ask the doctor, chances are you cannot buy it.
Mm.
Yeah. And when you ask the doctor and say, doctor, that time you told me don't buy because I'm still healthy, right? But this treatment is 2 million. Are you gonna pay? Your doctor is not gonna say he's gonna pay for you. Yeah. So my point is, ask yourself. Don't ask anyone. Ask your spouse. Ask your parents. Ask people who are related to you. Ask them a very simple question. If tomorrow I'm no more around, or tomorrow if I'm sick, how much do you think we'll need? Yeah. Don't ask yourself. If you find it hard to decide, right? You try to go back. You ask your wife. If let's say yesterday I have cancer, aside from medical bill, you just ask her, how much do you think we need to survive? How much do you think we'll need in order to make sure that you are fine and you have no headache? You ask her that. She may tell you zero lah if she's earning a lot of money lah, right?
No,
But
she probably tell me I don't know also because I never think of it.
then you ask her to calculate with you.
Mm.
Actually, that's what I did,
Mm.
Before I got married, I asked my wife.
Mm.
Uh,
So she
I
tell
mean,
you 2 million so
no,
that's why you.
no. I bought extra 500,000 because of that.
Ah.
And it's not like she tell me she need 500,000. I
Right.
just asked her. I said no, I'm fine, everything all. So once we got married, I told her like, you know what? If anything happened to me, at least there's 500,000
Oh, okay.
for you extra,
Mm,
right? But the rest that I already accumulated lah.
mm,
So these are on top of lah. Yeah.
Wow, see, very good planning. This part, I admit, I never look at it that seriously. That's why
Yeah.
I make a mistake.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, but it's okay, right? It's never too late. Nonetheless, I know there's a lot of question about insurance. I guess what? We are having that particular webinar called Maximizing Your Insurance 3.0. It's company insurance enough. We're gonna have it on the 28th of September at 10 to 12 p.m. So come and join us on that day. Yeah, if you want to find out more. Nonetheless, that's all about it for today.
Yes.
Any last words to add on?
Nope. I hope all of you will sign up for the webinar because Peter is going to share a lot more about this topic.
Yes, and not just that, you will also be sharing, moderating a session on futures, right?
Yes, I'm going to moderate a session on futures on the 25th of September. It's going to be at Affin Hwang Investment Bank. 25th of September is a weekday, but don't worry, it's at 6 o'clock and dinner will be served.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
All
Thank you very much for
right.
joining us.
Good night.